I honestly can't believe it. Syracuse basketball lost to Boston College. And no, I did not stutter.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's another post-game reaction here on Locked On Syracuse. What are we talking about? Glad you asked. Syracuse basketball lost to Boston College 81-73 on Saturday afternoon. Hello, everyone. I'm Jackson Holzer. This is Locked On Syracuse, and thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Of course, we're always free and available wherever you get your podcasts, the number one sports podcasting network. What are we talking about on today's show? Well, I'm pissed. Genuinely, I'm pissed, but all I can really do is just kind of laugh and smile through the pain because it is just absurd. So we'll break it all down. What's next for Syracuse? Can they recover from this loss against Boston College? Ooh, can they recover? The fact that Naithan George had 7 turnovers. Oh, so did Donnie Freeman. How this coach is just incompetent. Or that Syracuse, Boston College is a powerhouse. They need more NIL to be able to compete with teams like Boston College. And also Adrian Autry is in year 3, but according to Boeheim, he needs another 2 more years to assess whether or not he's the right guy for the program moving forward. Okay? All right? We're breaking it all down here on Locked On Syracuse. Before we get to everything, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. Okay, two things, okay? Number one, genuinely, I do want to credit Boston College. Boston College is a bad basketball team. Boston College is not going to make the NCAA tournament. In fact, they might not make the ACC tournament. They came into this game 182 in the net. They were down 9 early to Syracuse. They could have folded. They were down throughout most of this game. They kept battling, keeping it within striking distance. Donald Hand with a big-time shot at the end to force overtime, and Boston College had that will to win the basketball game. So credit to them for going out there on their home floor and sending all the Syracuse fans home empty-handed. Congratulations to Boston College. They deserved that win. Number 2, the only person involved with Syracuse athletics, specifically Syracuse basketball, that will not get any blame for this game is a player who I have been calling out really since the start of the season for underachieving. This is a player that, aside from 1/2 against Tennessee, has not gotten going for this team. And I said, as most recent on Friday, that this player is underachieving. He is not meeting expectations. But this player, Nate Kingz, did everything in his power to lift Syracuse to victory. And it is a shame that the Syracuse players, the Syracuse coaches, and the Syracuse, GM let him down. Nate Kingz, in this game, had 27 points. He was 8 of 12 from the field. He hit 5 of 6 3-point shots, and he made all of his free throws, a perfect 6 for 6. Nate Kingz was awesome. It is such an embarrassment that they got that performance from a player they really needed to wake up this season, and they could not take advantage. This was a game where Syracuse had every opportunity to win it. Every opportunity. They go up 9 early. 15-6. Nate George in transition before he became a total train wreck. Knocks down a corner 3. What does Adrian Autry decide to do early in the game when his team is doing well? Keep the players on the court that are doing well, or decide to make a hockey line change? If you guessed keep the players that are playing well in the game, which is the logical thing to do, you would be wrong. He makes a hockey line change, puts in his bench, which was brutal all game long. Nothing from Syracuse's bench. So what happens? Well, Boston College rightfully gets back into the game. Down 9 early, next thing you know, it's not 9 anymore. And in the first half, there were warning signs. For example, Nate Kingz knocks down a 3-pointer, and there's a foul off the ball on William Kyle. William Kyle has a chance with a 1-and-1 to make it a potential 5-point play, but he misses the front end of the 1-and-1. And when he missed the front end of the 1-and-1, guess what? Syracuse got the offensive rebound. It hit off a BC player, went out of bounds. So now Syracuse, after a made 3-pointer from Nate Kingz, without giving up possession, has a chance for a potential 6-point play. But what does Syracuse do instead? Well, wouldn't you guessed it, they turn the ball over because Syracuse basketball in this game had 18 turnovers. 18. That is inexcusable. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if Boston College was actually the Boston Celtics. 18 turnovers? What are you doing? But it gets worse because Syracuse, even though they're playing really poorly, they have a 7-point lead with 2:50 to go. This game should be over. Just get a couple more stops, hit some free throws, and you're good. You're going to win this basketball game. It is going to end. Oh, it ended just with a Boston College win. And of course, they blow it. How do they blow it? Well, it was just a cluster, you know what. I can't curse. How about the fact that with Syracuse up by 3 points and about a minute to go, Naithan George commits a turnover crossing half court. To his credit, he gets back on defense and he strips the ball away from the BC player, but then he steps out of bounds. And Adrian Autry, in all his brilliant wisdom, decides, well, I'm going to challenge whether or not Nate George actually stepped out of bounds with 54.5 seconds left, which of course he did, and it was very obvious on replay. He challenged it and was very off, very wrong. Why was it so incompetent? Well, there would come a moment which Syracuse could use that timeout. Donnie Freeman. Donnie Freeman. Late in the game. Up by 3 points. Boston College decides to intentionally foul him. It's a 1-and-1. The Orange are up by 3. There's seconds left. He misses a free throw. If he just makes that free throw, it's a 4-point game. The game would be over. If he makes 2 free throws, the game is really, really over. He misses. So Boston College has a chance to tie, down 3 with 17 seconds left. I don't know about you all, ladies and gentlemen, but when you're up 3 late in the game and you're on defense, it is highly recommended that you foul. Why? Because if you foul, well, the opponent can't tie the game on that possession. You get to have an opportunity to make free throws, and even if you don't make the free throws, and let's be honest, there's no guarantee Syracuse would make free throws, you could still get a stop and win the game anyway. Fouling up 3 is the most prudent thing to do, but our head coach doesn't understand that. And so Syracuse gives up an open enough look, I should say. I mean, it was a great shot by Donald Hand, and he makes it. He ties the game with 7 seconds left. Unpin that dumb challenge earlier. Wouldn't it have been nice if Syracuse had a timeout so they can maybe draw something up to end the game? It would be. Or at least have the option to call timeout, because instead what happens, Nate George crosses half court trying to be the hero, and wouldn't you guessed it, he turned the ball over. So Boston College actually had a chance to win on a half court heave. And then in overtime, it's 64-64. I didn't take a single note of that overtime. You just knew. You knew Syracuse was going to lose when it went to overtime. They were given every opportunity to win. And they just fell short. That's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. Hope that recaps the game for you if you missed it. I highly recommend going back and watching it over. I hope I'm doing good enough describing it. But you should probably watch it back if you didn't watch the game. If you did watch the game, don't watch it back. Your eyes will bleed. Coming up on Locked On Syracuse, you want to start ripping people? Let's just do that. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. And here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on the bets you already feel good about, or you can even build a parlay around the players and moments you think will decide the game. Then you apply the profit boost and go after even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. Locked On Syracuse, I'm Jackson Holzer. And unfortunately, I'm not lying, that Syracuse lost on the road to Boston College, 81-73. This team was on a 3-game win streak in the soft portion of their ACC schedule. This was the final game of it. It will get tougher, by the way. This team was starting to creep its way back up. They were up to 63 in the net in pregame. And even ESPN's Joe Lunardi, he actually had Syracuse on the bubble. Now, they were on the outer edge of the bubble. They were the 16th team out. That's right, 16. But with a month and a half left in the regular season and all the opportunities that, are still ahead of Syracuse, you can make up ground. You can make up 16 spots and sneak into the NCAA tournament. You have a healthy Donnie Freeman, after all. I keep hearing about that. Well, Donnie Freeman's healthy. I mean, Jackson, is unfair to judge Syracuse without Donnie Freeman. Well, they had him today, and what did that do? And instead of taking care of business and just moving on like they should have, the whole team, with the exception of Nate Kingz, collapsed. Collapsed right before our very eyes. I'm sure the players try. I'm sure they care. I'm sure they're pissed. And they should be. I'm not going to call them out for lack of effort or lack of hustle or lack of not wanting to be there. What I am going to call them out for is just for being bad at basketball and being bad at basketball coaching. That's what I'll call them out for. All right? Sound good? Naithan George. I apologize for being so dead wrong on him. I really do. I thought when they got him out of the transfer portal from Georgia Tech, a guy who was all conference last year in the ACC, led the conference in assists, that he was going to move the needle for Syracuse. I didn't say he was going to guarantee him an NCAA tournament, but I thought he would take them a tier above to where they were at that point. That was how good of a player he was. And that he was entering year 3 of college basketball and that he was bound to get better. But even if he just stayed the same, even if he just remained Nate George from what he was as a sophomore at Georgia Tech, we would take it. Folks, I don't know what to do about him. The natural instinct is to say, don't play him, put him on the bench. But who else can play point guard for this team? Do you want J.J. Starling being the point guard instead? And as a result, you have to have Kiyan Anthony be the 2. Oh, by the way, Kiyan Anthony, yeah, he ain't his father. He ain't even close. And we all know that. But back to Nate George. Look, I in the past with him, when I would criticize him, I would preface it by saying, well, some of it has to be on coaching. And so I don't want to absolve Adrian Autry entirely for it. But we have to blame Nate Kingz too. Because these turnovers that he commits are not just, turnovers where it's like, you're caught in a bad situation and you're throwing a desperate pass and it just gets picked off. These are mind-numbingly bad mistakes that he makes. You're crossing half court with a minute to go in the game and you turn it over up by 3? What? And then after you actually atone for your mistake, you step out of bounds? I wish Syracuse had a true backup point guard, because if they did, I would not play Nate George next game. I wouldn't play him. He was that bad in this game. Oh, don't forget that Nate George is also one of the big reasons why Syracuse lost to Hofstra. He had no points in that one. In this game, he had 6 points. He was 2 of 8 from the field. 7 turnovers. He stinks. He stinks, folks. He stinks. I'm out. I'm done. I am selling all of my Nate George stock. I am out on him. Goodbye. I don't care that I take the L on that. I don't care that I take the loss. I'm selling now. I'm done. It's just too bad that there's nobody behind him. Donnie Freeman, 7 turnovers. Can't happen. Yeah, he is the best player, but you know what? He wasn't the best player today. That was Nate Kingz. And I know Nate Kingz had an unusually amazing game, but if Donnie Freeman is just regular Donnie Freeman, Syracuse wins this game. They win it. And Adrian Autry, oh my goodness. Yeah, unfortunately, I was right. I'm not going to sit here and take a victory lap on it. But I was unfortunately right. I was wrong on Nate George. So I take the L on that. But I take a W on Adrian Autry. It's just a shame because I want the team to win. So I wanted to be wrong about this coach. I wanted to be wrong so badly. I wanted to look back on the last year's podcast or podcasts earlier in the season, or better yet, even this podcast right now, and laugh at it and be like, you were so naive, Jackson. Oh my goodness. You're so dumb. You're so stupid. You're so pathetic at your job. You know, you should have actually paid attention to this team and this coach and what he's doing. He clearly knows it and he's the right guy for the program. Just trust in him. No, he's not. He's not. He's not the guy. Whether it's his hockey line changes or his brutal coaching decisions down the stretch of this game, not fouling up 3 late or not having his team collected and gathered before the overtime. I mean, Boston College blitzed them in the overtime. It wasn't even close. At no point did you feel that they were going to win in overtime. And it's a shame also because I got no hate towards Adrian Autry as a person. Adrian Autry was a really good Syracuse basketball player. Adrian Autry was an associate head coach. He is a great recruiter. And I am sure that in his next job, he can go to a big program and do what he was doing at Syracuse prior to him being a head coach. I'm sure he can. But Adrian Autry, plain and simple, is not the right fit to be the Syracuse basketball head coach any longer. Now, is he going to get fired right now? No, he is not going to get fired. They're going to play this thing out. But they just lost to Boston College. Do you honestly think that they're going to magically turn this season around? Reminder, they came into this game on a hot streak. They were the 16th team out of making the tournament. Where do you think they're going to be when we wake up tomorrow on Sunday, January 18th? How far do you think they're going to fall in all the metrics? I know they got opportunities coming up. It starts next week when they got Virginia Tech coming to the Dome. Big win earlier today against Notre Dame on their home floor. It's inevitable. Said it last year, said it at the beginning of this season. It is inevitable that Adrian Autry will not be the head coach of Syracuse next season, unless they really do take Jim Boeheim's advice and they decide to give him another year to evaluate him again. There's nothing more to evaluate. They're not going to fire him because, I mean, who else are you going to promote? You want to promote Dan Engelstad, who sucked at Mount St. Mary's? Sorry, excuse me for saying the word suck, but it's true. Go look up his record there. So you want to promote him as the head coach? Or anyone else? You want to promote Alan Griffin to be the head coach? No. What's going to happen, or what should happen, is that Syracuse should already be on the phone, engaging interest nationally. I don't care if they have a former Syracuse background. I don't care if they're familiar or not with the Northeast. Do not care. Who cares? Get someone in here that can win. Get someone in here that can generate some real buzz, that can generate some real interest, because this is still a program, and this is a positive thing that I will say. This is still a prideful program, one of the all-time great basketball programs, and it is capable of turning it around. Look at Virginia. Virginia might be the best team in the ACC, a conference that features the Duke Blue Devils. Last year, they were bad. This year, new head coach, look at them. Look how good they are. That's Virginia, a storied program. Why can't Syracuse do that next year? It's just that it's not going to happen this season. This season, it will not happen. Coming up, we'll try to convince ourselves that they can still turn it around and they have all these opportunities. Well, we all know they probably won't. So let's talk about it on Locked On Syracuse. Locked On Syracuse, I'm Jackson Holzer. The Orange lose to Boston College on the road, 81-73. And with the loss, Syracuse basketball is 12-6 overall, 3-2 in the ACC. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to get a lot tougher for Syracuse basketball. This was the easy portion of their ACC schedule. They started against Clemson, and they had opportunities to win that game despite not playing well, and they lost. Then they rattled off 3 consecutive wins, and there were warning signs in all of those games. They're not playing against good teams, but they let Pitt hang around. They managed to win. Who was the other team? They let Georgia Tech hang around, but they managed to win. And they let Florida State hang around. They managed to win. I know I got that a little bit out of order. You could swap the Pitt and Georgia Tech. You get the idea, yada, yada, yada. Then they have Boston College and they lose. Quad 3 loss for Syracuse. The second quad 3 loss for Syracuse basketball because they also lost a home game to Hofstra. They lost to Hofstra and BC. Yeah, folks, this team's going to make the tournament. What do they have coming up? I mean, Virginia Tech on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. I would not be surprised if Syracuse won that game. I wouldn't. I guess that's positive for you all. I wouldn't be at all because that would be such a Syracuse thing to do. Lose to Boston College, get us all riled up, get us all fire Adrian Autry talk. And then on Wednesday night, they're at home and they start, when everyone's counting them out and the pressure is off, that's when they win. And they beat Virginia Tech, a team that's better than I think we all thought they were going to be in the preseason. Maybe they can beat Virginia Tech. Would it make up for the fact that they lost to Boston College? No, it wouldn't. That's the problem. They have to do so much now to overcome this loss. And then after that, after you play Virginia Tech, don't worry, you're still at home next Saturday, same time, 2 p.m. You got Miami. Oh, by the way, remember when Syracuse last year lost to Miami on the road when Miami was like the worst team in the ACC? Difference is that last year's Syracuse team, I was told, was really, really, really bad. And they were really, really, really bad. This year's Syracuse team is supposed to be pretty good. And they lost to Boston College. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, you got Miami. They're pretty good. Could Syracuse win? Sure. Syracuse can win. And then after that, you got at NC State. NC State just lost at home to Georgia Tech. Ooh, not good. I'll take the L maybe on Will Wade, by the way. I don't know if Will Wade's the right guy, so maybe I'll take the L on that. See, I don't get everything right. I don't get everything wrong. But I'll take maybe the L on Will Wade. So we'll see what happens when they go there. And then you got Notre Dame at home. That'll be fun. Then you got at North Carolina, at Virginia, loss. And then you got Cal at home. That'll be tough. SMU at home. That'll be tough. At Duke, don't even show up to that stadium or that arena, whatever they want to call it there. You think they're going to make the tournament now? You kind of just had to, all Syracuse had to do was just win this game. I wasn't even asking for style points because the ACC is good this year. Every opponent they're going to play is pretty much quad 1 or quad 2. Those are resume builders. But resume builders don't mean jack you know what if you can't beat Boston College. So yeah, you could try to convince yourself that Syracuse can make the tournament. I'm calling it. They won't. Which hurts my bottom line because I want you all to care about this team. And I do care about this team, and I will watch every single game, and I will do a post-game show for every single game. So I'm not going anywhere for this basketball season. I'm not. I will be here for every game. But no, they are not going to make the tournament. It's not going to happen. It's over. You lost to Boston College. You lost to Hofstra. Those are 2 quad 3 losses. Boston College, by the way, is a far worse loss than Hofstra, too. You're not making it because this team is not good enough as presently constructed to go on the caliber of run that is needed to be able to make the NCAA tournament from here on out. They will most likely be in the ACC tournament, and so their path at that point will be to win every single game in the ACC tournament. And, if you win the conference championship, you get an automatic bid. So that's their path now. We are back to where we were last season, folks. It took a little bit longer than last season. Last season, you could pretty much call the year by early December. We got another month out of this team of really believing that maybe they could be an at-large team. But I'm calling it now. January 17th. I'm recording this at 5:12 p.m. Eastern. This team will not make the tournament at large. Their only path is to win the ACC. That's it. And I am sorry. I hope to be wrong. Syracuse is my alma mater. I want this team to win basketball games. But I'm also not going to sit here and lie to you all. I'm going to tell you how I actually feel. That is what this podcast has really been. Just, this is how I feel. So if you feel differently, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Tell me why Syracuse is going to go on a run to make the NCAA tournament. I'm sure we'd all love to hear it because I'm having a hard time seeing otherwise. So you tell me. Comment in the comment section below. I genuinely appreciate all the support. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this show. I hope you still care throughout the season. Win, lose, or draw, I will be here. Tomorrow, there will be a podcast. We'll probably do a fan reaction show. We might do multiple fan reaction shows to break down this game. Honestly. So, folks, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this podcast, be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoy the podcast, please feel free, hit that like and subscribe button. Helps the channel grow to reach all of you Syracuse fans. And I will see you all again soon. And we will be here for every basketball game, win, lose, or draw. Take care, everyone.